recording again. So now we've got parameters again. Okay, what are they? They're values or dimensions that might vary from one version of the design to the next. Okay, so it's just anything that you put in there that might change as you develop the design. Okay, and they change because of different materials. Different designs need to be bigger or smaller based on materials, the strength of the materials, what size you need to connect to. As an example, on a gear output shaft, it might pass plenty of torque and plenty of power with a 5/8 hex, but because what you're hooking it up to is a 1-inch hex, you got to have a 1-inch hex. Okay. And so other features vary, so you've got different uses of very similar parts. In this case, it's that little transfer shaft, right? And we haven't even talked about materials yet. So parameters are values that change, and the reason that they change is they can be needed to be different based on materials, strength, connections, all that kind of stuff. Now, there's a special set of parameters that are called driven parameters. And that depends on how you sketched the part to make it. So when I made this shaft, I made what's called an inscribed polygon. Okay, so I actually drew a circle and then said put a hexagon inside of it. So it's the circle that I drew, and then Inventor created the hexagon, and it tells me what the distance across the flats are. That's called the driven diameter. D0, the circle, is what I can change. But this driven dimension is what I really want to know, because that is what has to fit into the mating part. And that is what I can measure very easily. So there's a bunch to parameters. They're values that can change. They're changed for all sorts of reasons. And there's a special type of parameter called a driven parameter that is often what we need to know, but we have to play with an intermediate step. Any questions about, does that sort of help make sense of what we're doing with all these parameters?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, then let's